Among the Church's many chants and hymns, the Pange Lingua is especially linked to Christ's real presence. It's the hymn sung during benediction of the Blessed Sacrament, when the Eucharist is exposed for adoration. The hymn is a prayer of adoration of the Holy Eucharist, a mystery so great that it has left some with doubts and uncertainties over the centuries.
In 1263, there was a Bohemian priest who came from Prague to Rome to pray a lot and ask the Lord to enlighten him about the Eucharistic mystery. So he came to Italy, and when he came to Rome, his doubts appeased. So he thought he found some insight into this mystery. However, while on his way back to Prague, he stopped in Bolsena, which is a little town in central Italy, and his doubts started reappearing again. He decided to celebrate the Mass at the local parish, at the local church. And all of a sudden, while he was dealing with a consecrated host, he noticed that the host was dripping some stains of blood on the corporal, that is, the piece of fine fabric of cloth that is supposed to contain the Eucharist during the Mass. So he was really, really shocked and afraid, up to the point that when the Mass was over, he decided to close the corporal and to tell the Pope about what happened.
Providence would have it that the Pope, for reasons of safety, was residing in the nearby city of Orvieto. Upon hearing the news of the Eucharistic miracle in Bolsena, he was moved by the memory of a remarkable encounter he had experienced some time before and understood the importance of what was happening.
Pope Urban IV was precisely one of those persons who met personally Saint Julienne of Corbillon, who was the saint, the Augustinian nun, who spread the devotion and the cult of Corpus Christi. At the beginning, Corpus Christi used to be a local feast in the Diocese of Liège in Belgium. And Urban IV had this chance of meeting Sister Julienne when she was still alive. So he knew about the importance of celebrating Corpus Christi at the local level. In the Middle Ages, there were fierce theological debates who wrongly applied philosophical categories to understand the Eucharistic nature of the Eucharistic mystery. In that time, they really understood that reason, when it is properly employed, can help us to understand the mystery of God, or at least to have a better glimpse at it. But they were also aware of the danger that a wrong use of reason can sort of determine in our understanding of Christian mysteries. So it was not just a matter of popular piety and devotion in a single region as Belgium. It really mattered to the whole Christian world.
Once Pope Urban IV confirmed the authenticity of the miracle of Bolsena, he called upon two of the greatest theological minds of the era, St. Thomas Aquinas and St. Bonaventure, both present in Orvieto, to compose the liturgical office for the feast. But according to tradition, the choice between the two was not left to man alone.
When St. Bonaventure came to the room where St. Thomas Aquinas was composing his own hymn, he saw a dove who was dictating the words and presumably the melody to St. Thomas Aquinas. And that dove, of course, was a sort of symbol of the Holy Spirit. And given that there was this clear inspiration from above, St. Bonaventure decided to refrain from presenting his own composition to the Pope. So he gave the floor, so to speak, to St. Thomas Aquinas, who was then selected as the one who actually composed the liturgical office for Corpus Christi.
It was in this context that the Pange Lingua was born. To this day, the beloved Eucharistic hymn accompanies Eucharistic celebrations, adoration, and benediction around the world. In particular, its last two stanzas, which are customarily sung under the title of Tantum, Ergo. Through the poetic genius of St. Thomas Aquinas, the hymn continues to draw us closer to the mystery of Christ's presence in the Eucharist.
I'm really struck by the fact that St. Thomas Aquinas praises the Blessed Sacrament in a very poetical way, and yet he's very attentive to the speculative dimension of the mystery. So he's really aware of the fact that our senses are not enough to perceive the mystery of the body and blood of Christ. As humans, we always begin our knowledge from the senses. However, the Lord can help us to see invisible things by virtue of supernatural faith.
Tantum Ergo Sacramentum veneremur cernui et antiquum documentum novo cedat ritui prestet fides supplement